Hello, and welcome to Hello Sister, a Vampire Diaries podcast with a magical twist.
We're your hosts, Christina Rosso-Schneider
and Brenna Dinon. Christina, we're here again for another Spoilersode. Would you like to walk us through the first part of our recap, and we'll go back and forth?
I would love to. So we are here in our Spoilersode for episode 16, There Goes the Neighborhood. So to jump off our quick summary of the episode, most of the tomb vampires are getting acclimated to present day in Mystic Falls. Pearl is firm with the tomb vamps that she doesn't want anyone going anywhere as they work on a plan to take back Mystic Falls.
Caroline suggests that she, Matt, and Elena and Stefan go on a double date together to air out any weirdness between the two couples. Elena is hesitant, but Stefan agrees to it since they've been looking for an excuse to have a normal night. They meet up later that night at the grill.
Damon receives a visit from Pearl at the boarding house with Anna, who threatens him in order to get him to help her as they get established in town, while also offering up that she would help him find Catherine. Damon doesn't bite, but Pearl doesn't give him a choice. She wants him to help them regardless of Catherine and pokes out his eyes in the process, reminding him who is older and stronger. Later, Jenna meets them in town to show them the old apothecary building, which was Elena's dad's doctor's office.
Jeremy is researching vampires to see if there's any validity in them, and through this episode confirms that Anna is a vampire, and she's frustrated by Jeremy's discovery.
Damon and Kelly Donovan link up at the bar after Kelly does an interview for a bartender job at the grill that Matt suggests she does earlier in the episode, and they start day drinking. They're later joined by Jenna, since Kelly used to be Jenna's babysitter, and they also used to party together. They eventually spot the kids, Matt, Caroline, Elena, and Stefan, who are also at the grill having their doomed double date.
Frederick and Beth Ann decide to go against Pearl's wishes of the tomb vampires and venture out until they have a more solid footing, and against Pearl's wishes of having the tomb vampires venture out until they have a more solid footing in town. And they also, unsurprisingly, end up at the grill. And Frederick mistakes Elena for Catherine before Stefan is looped in by Elena on this, and they disappear.
Jenna leaves Kelly and Damon at the bar when they're being flirty and hails a cab, but she gets preyed on by Frederick. Thankfully, however, it doesn't work because she's wearing Elena's vervain-laced gift. However, Frederick does find out where Damon and Stefan live because Jenna tells him.
And just puts it out there. After a rocky start to the double date at the grill due to Elena and Matt hopscotching down memory lane, Stefan invites all of them over to hang at the boarding house. More tension ensues with Matt and Elena disregarding Caroline's feelings of inadequacy while Stefan tries to help smooth things out. And eventually the group run into Damon and Kelly hooking up at home, ruining the night.
Yikes. Once the kids all clear out, Damon and Stefan are attacked by Frederick and Beth Ann, which ends up getting Beth Ann killed. When he returns back to Miss Gibbons, Pearl is pissed.
And then towards the end of our episode, as Jeremy and Anna are going back and forth, and Jeremy finally confirms that she is a vampire, Jeremy then asks if Anna will turn him into a vampire. Dun dun dun.
Real shocker. So now that we've talked a little bit about, just a quick summary of the episode, we wanted to, for our first little bit for the Spoilersode, actually continue on something we were talking about in our Folklore section in the larger episode. So in our Folklore section this week, we discussed vampire healing abilities inspired by Pearl poking Damon's eyes out. We highly recommend checking it out. Yes, if you are squeamish, you might want to avoid it, but I loved it. And also check out our Folklore section too. But what we wanted to say here in the Spoilersode is to further that conversation, looking at magical blood and healing abilities, because this is something that will come into future TVD episodes.
Yeah. So as we were looking through just different types of blood. So we, in our Folklore section, if you haven't checked it out, and again, highly recommend you do, but to like kind of piggyback off of that, there was a little part that we were getting into about how kind of like mystical blood can like help do certain things, like whether that's like healing vampires or be used to like bolster kind of magical spells that are being done, because very much like in just core vampire folklore, I mean, like the blood is like what keeps vampires going. It's very just important and potent in and of itself, even if it's just regular blood from a person. But this is like taking that to like in our spoilersode, we're like just going to touch on taking it that step further to like truly like people with magical blood. So first things first, we can just quickly talk about doppelganger blood.
Mhm.
So I don't know if you have anything like that you like want to call to mind, or just that we want to like name that both Stefan and Elena are doppelgangers, so they would have like magical blood properties, and their blood is definitely sought after, or specifically Elena's as early as season 2 with Klaus, because it's the blood of the doppelganger that's needed for that ritual, right?
Yes, and he specifically wants this because of another type of blood, hybrid blood.
Because
he's a hybrid. So he's the only creature in the world whose blood can cure, well, a couple of things. So he needs doppelganger blood to complete his, like, to unlock the wolf side of himself, because that's been suppressed.
Right.
So now he can transition at will. So he fully is able to have like full hybrid powers. And then he wants to make hybrids, and he needs doppelganger blood
to do that,
like to unlock that. And then I think he uses his blood specifically for that.
Because then him having like the first, is he the first hybrid?
Yes. So he is, I'm looking at the wiki page. He is one of only 2 beings on Earth whose blood can turn a werewolf into a hybrid. Assuming that he has doppelganger blood in order to complete their transition.
Okay.
The other one is eventually his daughter, Hope.
So
he is the first, because he's the first hybrid.
Right. Okay.
In existence.
And then that would make sense, because Hope's his daughter, so she would have that potency within her.
If we ever get that far.
If we ever get that far, maybe we'll talk about Hope. We don't know much, but I mean, I know you probably, because she's like in originals as like a little girl, right?
Yeah. Like a baby, and then she's like a child.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but werewolf blood, I mean, I feel like I can't recall I don't know if there's anything specifically that is needed for werewolf blood, but it's just like it is also magical in.
Yeah, well, they're mortal.
Yeah.
And it's hereditary, but they have to trigger the curse. But the one thing that's interesting in this world is that a werewolf bite is...
That's right.
Will kill a vampire. And the only cure for it is Klaus's hybrid blood. So it will heal them immediately if he gives it, but he's Klaus and I love him, and he just withholds it or makes people jump through hoops, but he does save Caroline.
He does
once
save
she's
Caroline.
a vampire and she gets bitten. And I think that's when he first starts getting googly eyes for our girl, which everyone should have.
How could you not? We love her.
How could you not?
And then
actually, literally, the wiki photo is him giving her blood.
Oh, yeah. See, and then his hybrid blood. Yeah, so his hybrid blood can cure a vampire who was bitten by a werewolf.
Also, a human doppelganger blood was needed in the spell that transformed Michael and his children into the original vampires.
Oh, that's right. So is that that
would have been Catherine. That's why.
Okay, right. Okay. So that's why she turns in. Isn't that why she turns into a vampire?
Spell transform.
Because she do that to like escape?
So I think they must have used a different doppelganger. But then, because then it's years later that Klaus Klaus and like courts Catherine
Mm-hmm.
because he needs her blood to break the hybrid curse that was placed on him in the early 11th century.
Okay. Wait, so is it like Amara or Ketsia or Amara?
I
Maybe.
guess so.
Maybe Amara was the one that I know. There's because Ketsia is one. Is Ketsia? Is that one of the?
So Tatia's blood was used.
Ketsia, sorry, Ketsia is a different person. That's
Yeah, Tatia's blood was used in the adapted version of the immortality spell that was used on the Michelson family in order to create the original vampires. Her blood was also used to perform the hybrid curse, which was placed on Klaus.
That's why I was mixing up Tatia and Ketsia, but Ketsia is another character.
Yes. This wiki page is really doing some work.
Doing some work.
Also, Bonnie with bangs.
Hell yeah.
What a babe. She looks so good with bangs.
And then speaking of Bonnie and Bennett blood, so the Bennett witches, sorry, I don't have the page.
No, that's fine. So members of the Bennett bloodline have a tradition of using their blood to bind powerful spells. This process can bind the spell in a variety of ways, so it typically requires the blood of an active Bennett witch to break, reverse, or remove the spell. Or in the case of enchanted objects, Bennett blood is required to use or open it. So we haven't seen this in any specific instance yet, but we will see it, for instance, with the Gemini Coven and connected to the prison worlds. We'll also see it's Bennett blood and magic that sealed the vault in the armory. And then, kind of like with the werewolf curse, like being a witch is hereditary. It is a shared bloodline, and the Bennett witch bloodline is very powerful and very strong.
Yeah, it's very cool. Just the blood stuff. And this won't be the last time that we talk about these things. And that's why we didn't go too deep in it. We're not trying to get too deep because we're going to have time to get into these in a little more in depth when it's more pertinent to the story.
Yeah.
But for the purposes of today's episode, it was more just magical blood usually can be used to heal or do certain things around that. But I guess to bring it back more to our episode, we keep talking about our just kind of overall indifference with the tomb vampires and how we just aren't really completely vibing with their storyline. But we do,
besides Harper,
except for Harper, we love you, Harper. You're the best. But we'll see more tomb vampire activity as early as next episode, where Frederick leads a group of rebel revenge thirsty vamps to on a plan. They try to go out and attack. They capture Stefan, and that's gonna be a whole thing. But it's just it's tough. But Frederick gets got in the next episode by Stefan after he kidnaps and tortures him. So
I can't wait.
Bye, Frederick.
Yeah.
Goodbye, Frederick.
I genuinely can't wait. And then a big thing that we talked about in our main episode tonight is just our absolute fucking over it frustration, etc., with Matt and Caroline.
Hate.
And I was like, well, they don't date that long. And so I looked it up, and they don't break up until literally a full season from now. So we're in season 1, episode 16. They don't break up until season 2, episode 16.
Hate.
And I can't. I definitely remember when I was watching the show, for the first times that I knew they weren't a great fit.
Yeah.
But I did root for them, especially when I think it's in season 2 when she sings to him at the grill.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Can't wait because she's such a good singer.
She's such a good singer. I mean, she is actually a very good singer. And so, which I always love when that comes up and feels like it's organic.
Yeah.
And it's a very tender moment. But I don't want to wait.
No.
So many, 20 more episodes for them to break up.
We're stuck. We're stuck with them for another 20 some weeks.
But
Fuck.
I'm ready for her to be with Tyler. I'm ready.
I know. I can't believe we're gonna have to suffer through this. That's why
But
we have
Tyler's like not even really here right now, so we'll get there.
This is it. We're drinking to hope. We'll see you in one season worth of episodes.
Yeah, seriously, that's like that was the biggest spoiler for myself.
Horrible.
That I knew I mean, how could these two make it work? But that we have they are running circles around each other and just their bullshit, which is really Matt's bullshit, but it's the way Caroline's written to just like
accept it,
right? Like that will just keep happening for so long, and they end up breaking up because she's a vampire.
Yeah.
And he's not okay with that. Like, he just wants to be human. And you know what I want to say to that? Like, and I will say this the whole series, Matt, you were so basic and boring, and like,
Oh, basic.
I just don't.
I mean, he becomes a cop in the end. So, just saying.
Yeah.
He's kind of exactly where you think he'd end up. Unfortunately. I know that I know why they decide to keep him as a character, because
They need someone.
They need somebody to like be a human when there's all this like crazy ass shit going on. And so I get it, but it's also like,
He's such a wet blanket.
yeah, he is.
And honestly, Caroline gets so much better as a vampire.
She does. She really comes into her own even more. But you know what? It's like so crazy because I feel like I think the sentiment in the fandom is that people are like, oh, she just gets better when she's a vampire. And I'm like, no, she's fine.
She's great now.
She's currently fine.
Right. And I will say, I feel like when I watched the show when I was in college, that I was I always liked her, but
Yeah.
I think it's because I see a lot of like myself in her.
Yeah.
But I remember thinking like, she's a lot.
Yeah.
And like, wow, this really helped her. And I feel like I was gaslit by the writers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And all the other characters.
Yep. Me too. Me too. And you know what's like funny is just because like I am currently doing like a Buffy rewatch right now, and just they're obviously like, and I don't know if it's intentional or not, but like you can definitely take like a number of the like characters from TVD and like map them onto like a Buffy counterpart, and like so clearly Caroline and Cordelia feel like very similar, or like spiritually similar in some ways, just with like kind of like the lack of tact of like what they just say, what comes to their mind and stuff. But I'll say this, like Cordelia's a lot more mean than Caroline is. Like Cordelia, like, and I love Cordelia. She's
love
like
Cordelia.
Genuinely, Cordy's one of my favorite characters, one of the best, if not maybe the best character arc in the Buffyverse, but
which
like
I think Caroline has the best arc in TVD.
Yeah, because it's just because they just have so far to go. But the thing is that I don't even think with this watch that we're doing now, like I don't think that Caroline's like in such a like not that like Cordy's in like a low place. She's just a lot more vapid. But like I don't even think that Caroline's that vapid.
I don't either.
She's just a normal teenage girl. With like, sometimes she says stuff that's a little stingy, but like for the most part,
right?
I don't know. So
we're gonna continue to scream in the spoilersodes about the fact that they haven't broken up.
Yeah. So I guess that's what our spoilersodes are gonna be. Hopefully, we'll have more to talk about in future episodes.
Yeah, we in general did not like this episode, and we didn't feel like there were a ton of like spoiler specific content for it.
Yeah.
So.
But hopefully, this ignited some things, or ignited your brain if you've watched the show and are like, oh yeah, that stuff and that stuff and that stuff. But I think we're gonna leave it there for today. So thanks, Christina, for being along for this spoilersode ride
I was here for you.
For us, for this episode tonight.
Yes, thank you for being my partner in all of this and having some wine with me.
Of course.
Slurp, slurp.
Slurp, slurp.
Which you have to listen to the main episode to know what that means.
Slurp, slurp. But thank you all for listening and watching and hanging out with us here at Hello Sister.
Bye.
Bye. Hello Sister is written, directed, and hosted by Christina Rosso-Schneider and Brenna Dinon. Graphic designs are by Alex Schneider. Music is written and produced by Dwight Evan Young. Sound design and video are recorded and produced by Dwight Evan Young and Brenna Dinon. Hello Sister Podcast is a Bad Day Media production.